You need a loss for Dudley and a loss for Norwich here. Hello everyone and welcome back to game week 5 of the 23-24 PTC Therapeutics Championship, where you join myself, Ryan Sipple, for a really significant game that will be contested between Norwich City and Teesside, the penultimate game of the season here on Court A. I'll run you through the squads and then we'll talk about the significance of this this game, as well as the one that will be played at the same time on Court B between Villa, Rockets Lions and West Bromwich Albion Dudley. So to start, Norwich City, they have Certainly, I'll name the ones that are present. They have number 4, Mike Coleman, number 6, Johan George, number 8, Henry Barnard, number 20, Hannah Murgatroyd, and number 21, Jack Fulcher. And their challengers, Teesside Steel, have number 1, Charlie Connolly, number 4, Jamil Khan, number 8, Thomas Met, number 10, Isaac Murray, and number 16, Oscar Mulgrew. So with the season wrapped up, and certainly with regards to positions 1 and 2, Greenbank, of course, are champions following an earlier 0-0 draw. Middlesbrough PFC were able to snatch the last automatic promotion spot in second. So Greenbank and Middlesbrough will definitely be playing their football in the top flight of power chair football in England for the 24-25 campaign. Leeds Dynamos, having faltered today against both Greenbank and Teesside Steel, have meant that their position towards the summit of the table is very much in jeopardy. So Norwich City, should they win this one, and a win is far from a certain bet, because Teesside Steel have been fantastic across game week 5. Norwich City will secure the final so the third place playoff position. West Bromwich Albion Dudley currently taking on Villa Rockets Lions, so they'll be hoping that Norwich City falter in this game against Teesside Steel, and if that is the case and Dudley are able to get 3 points against Villa Rockets Lions, also a very tough fixture on goal difference, they will surpass both Norwich City and Leeds Dynamos for that third position. And just for anyone tuning in unaware, whoever finishes the season in third in the Championship will be placed in a one-off playoff game against whoever finishes 10th in the Premiership, and that will be contested on July 13th, the winner of which will play their football in the Premiership. The last time these two met was the 19th of November, and in that one Norwich were able to secure the 3 points. 1-0 that finished, a single goal scorer of Johan George. Should there be any goals, updates on Court B, I will strive to bring you them as soon as possible, and we can reference the live league standings throughout the game. Norwich in game week 5 have been nothing short of sensational, it must be said. They started with a 3-0 win over Sale United before a 1-0 victory over AFC Bournemouth Warriors. Today they started with an emphatic 7-0 victory over Nottingham Forest. So they have won all 3, they have scored 11, they have conceded none. So if they were to take some pretty good form into their final game of the season, I think they've most certainly done that. Teesside Steel have had an equally as impressive weekend. Unfortunately, the higher placements of the table and the automatic promotion and or the playoff fixture in third are out of reach, but they started with a 2-0 win over Man City. They then played champions Greenbank, and whilst they lost that, it was only a 1-0 scoreline. We have had a goal on Court B, and one that is really significant. It looks as if Villa Rockets Lions have taken the lead. So Norwich City will hopefully be keeping an eye on that, and if they can influence the result here, the playoff fixture will see Norwich being one of the two teams. But what a season it has been. We've just concluded the trophy ceremony for Greenbank. Middlesbrough also celebrating their promotion to the Premiership. Just one more thing to play for. Teams just going through the final warm-ups. Before we are underway, let's have a look at the top goal scorer chart of the 23-24 Championship. You can see Henry Barnard's made up some real ground on the three Greenbank players leading the way. Liam Ashton on 31 goals across the season. Luke Kelly on 22, Jacob Buckplatt on 21. Henry Barnard will do well to score 3+ goals, but a fantastic tally for him. By far his best goal scoring season to date. Thomas Met for Teesside still just breaking into the top goal scorer charts. He's on double digits on 10. But we are soon to be underway. It was scheduled for a 5-2 kick-off, but due to them the trophy given to Greenbank, we are delayed slightly, but we will be underway in no time at all. Paul Yates, our central referee, blows his whistle to get the two teams in. Oscar Mulgrew, the captain of Teesside Steel. Mike Coleman, that for Norwich City. What is interesting, looking at this Norwich City side, it looks as if they've switched tactically. Not often I've seen Johan George adorning the goalkeeper jersey, certainly from the start. So they're going to start with a 4 of Johan George in goal, in red. His outfield players in canary yellow. Mike Coleman in the centre, as you're viewing it. Henry Barnard on the left, Jack Fulcher on the right. A really exciting Norwich side, this. Henry Barnard and Jack Fulcher currently accessing the talent pathway opportunities provided by the Football Association. So they have, of course, aspirations of one day putting on the shirt of the Three Lions. Teesside still have Isaac Murray in goal, in purple. In the centre, Oscar Mulgrew. Jamil Khan, as you're viewing it, is on the left. Thomas Met is on the right, but switch that to understand what wing they're operating for Teesside. And Paul Yates has blown his whistle, so Oscar Mulgrew gets things underway. An early goal for Norwich will see them settle the nerves, and I'm sure there is plenty of them. If I bring up the scoreline on Court B, you will see that Villa Rockets Lions 1-0 up against West Bromwich Albion Dudley. I can also show you, should it end as it currently stands, how the standings will look. Leeds Dynamos would be safe, but Norwich City, as has already been discussed, will need 3 points here to upset the party. Mike Coleman, met by Jamil Khan. It was a fantastic 1-0 victory for Teesside Steel against Leeds Dynamos earlier. I think there's been a second goal for Villa Rockets Lions. I believe Dudley are without Amy Lee Julian, whether or not she is suspended for this one, but she is so important to the game they play, to the tactics they adopt. So there's obviously a big void in the centre for them here. Very cagey opening minute and a half. Coleman, Mulgrew, over to Jamil Khan. Thomas Met in space, guides it towards the box. Oscar Mulgrew on the far wing. That's very heavy contact from Thomas Met. He'll do very well to escape a telling off. It's just that, thankfully for him. Had it been further into the game, it would have almost certainly been a yellow card. I doubt we'll have any more passages of play or contact like that without that yellow card leaving Paul Yates' pocket. Henry Barnard, no options in support. Certainly in the centre. Jack Fulcher very high and wide on the right. Two on one in favour of Norwich City. To be taken by Mike Coleman. Henry Barnard on the left-hand side. Jack Fulcher on the right. Down to the former. Mike Coleman now. Needs to be careful. Oscar Mulgrew well positioned to intercept. Jamil Khan looking to pounce. Single substitutes for both teams. Norwich City have Hannah Murgatroyd. Teesside Steel have Charlie Connolly. Fulcher. Jamil Khan advancing down this wing, met by Mike Coleman. Weaves round the Teesside, Steel number 4. Henry Barnard vacates the space, he's trapped though. Very congested in that final third. Fortunately for them, Paul Yates doesn't award the 2-on-1. Mulgrew over to Thomas Met. Confirmation of that second goal for Villa Rockets Lions. So only Norwich City can take that spot off of Leeds Dynamos, and it would require all 3 points. Henry Barnard to take. Mike Coleman between the chairs of Isaac Murray and Jamil Khan. Jack Fulcher unopposed at the back post. Through into Isaac Murray's chair. Henry Barnard. 2-on-1 in favour of Teesside Steel to give their defence a little bit of respite. Murray down the court, met by Coleman. Over to Henry Barnard on 17 league goals. Fantastic tally for the young Norwich City number 8. Murray intercepted by Barnard. Couldn't quite get the connection right, so as opposed to that firing into the top right-hand corner to Fulcher, it glides backwards. Teesside still come away with the kick in to be taken by Jamil Khan. Jamil Khan, the top goal scorer, alongside Thomas Met on 10. I'm sure they'll be having a fun battle between them as to who can finish the season with more finishes to their name. Oscar Mulgrew on 4. Nice pass that from Mulgrew off the back of Jamil Khan's chair. You look at the Norwich City top goal scorers. You will see, as mentioned, Henry Barnard on 7, 10 more than both Jack Fulcher and Johan George. Out of play, Jamil Khan unable to keep it live. You can see we've got Rosie Dack tuning in, watching Norwich. No doubt she'll be hoping that they can end the season on a high with 3 points and a playoff position to contest for. One of the coaches that have supported Norwich City throughout the season, and it's been probably a difficult time for them. I know Darren Hunter, an individual that's so influential and has been so crucial to setting up the Power Chair team and supporting it over many years, has left Norwich City Foundation, and that's a miscommunication slightly between Isaac Murray and Oscar Mulgrew. He's able to readjust, but pressure invited by Jack Fulcher. But I can see that Tracy Coleman is present on the touchline today, so fill in the gap for game week 5. I know they have Shane Brown as well, another influential figure behind the scenes. And I hope, irrelevant of this result, they can celebrate what has most definitely been a successful season as they continue to improve year after year. Coleman. Fulcher. Cleared by Oscar Mulgrew. Coleman. Down to Barnard. Over to Fulcher. They've got a good attacking presence in the Teesside half, but yet to have that real moment of magic to split open their defence. 10 minutes gone. Norwich City 0, Teesside still 0. Coleman, pick off to Henry Barnard. Back to Jack Fulcher. I would have liked to have seen Henry Barnard with the pick off there. Would have probably just kept it live for a little bit longer. And that goes just wide of Jack Fulcher, but good pressure nonetheless. Live on Court B, also on the WFA's YouTube channel. Villa Rockets Lions lead West Bromwich Albion Dudley by 2-0. A scoreline that takes any sort of promotion or playoff positioning out of Dudley's hands, unfortunately for them. It sounds like they have scored. They've halved the deficit against Villa Rockets Lions. For anyone wanting to watch that, just scroll through the WFA's live YouTube segment and that will be highlighted as live. Jack Fulcher here. Over to Jamil Khan. Switches the play. No real accuracy. Johan George, who's had little to no involvement in the 11 minutes played, clears it well. Ricocheted off Henry Barnard's chair, all the way down the other end of the court. Confirmation of that goal from West Bromwich Albion Dudley. Two more goals for them. Could see them creep into that third position. Khan. To the side of Henry Barnard's charge. Jack Fulcher has to be careful. Villa Rockets Lions have regained that 2-goal advantage. Really entertaining game over there. Here it remains goalless between Norwich City and Teesside still. I always suspected it will be a closely contested affair. It's proving to be just that, as Jamil Khan has an opportunity to break. Had he made connection with that, Thomas Met was set away on the left-hand wing. Joanne George. Connection. Out by Mike Coleman. Isaac Murray has to be careful here. Just ricochets off the right-hand side of his chair. Jack Fulcher keeps it live. Mike Coleman in support in the centre. Closed down by Oscar Mulgrew. Into the box. Off the back wheel of Isaac Murray. There's a tendency sometimes for Norwich City players to be drawn into the same ball. Very nearly 2-on-1 awarded against them, but play kept live by Paul Yates. Got a very experienced match official lineup. Paul Yates in the centre, Pete Taylor on the left, Jeff Lewis on the right. Some of the leading officials anywhere in the world. Fulcher nearly found Henry Barnard, just a slight touch off Oscar Mulgrew's chair. There's that tendency to be drawn into it as Thomas Met has an attempt at goal. Johan George has to be alert to that opportunity. Probably the best goal scoring opportunity that Teesside still have had all game. They've had 14 minutes. I'll bring the live table at the half-time break. It's half-time on Court B. West Bromwich Albion Dudley 1, Villa Rockets Lions 3. As that attempt from Thomas Met doesn't trouble the Norwich City defence. Khan into the path of Oscar Mulgrew, couldn't get the timing right. Out of play from Jamil Khan. Barnard into Coleman. Just over 4 minutes to go. It remains goalless. Met over to Khan. Nice work from Barnard, over to Fulcher. Mike Coleman picks the pocket of Jamil Khan. Interesting system Norwich are adopting. They've got fluidity in terms of players picking up the vacant roles and spaces of teammates, but sometimes players are just drawn into the same areas. As mentioned at the start, for me certainly watching Norwich City, it's an unfamiliar approach to utilise Johan George in goal, a very competent wide attacking player, Johan George, so just shows the versatility of his game. Isaac Murray into the gap, left by Oscar Mulgrew. Switch of play from Mike Coleman. Off the back wheel of Henry Barnard, which guides it towards the goal of Teesside still. Strong play from Mulgrew. Mike Coleman now. Good presence in the box of Teesside still. They have to be in communication constantly. Any momentarily lapses in concentration would surely present Coleman with a goal scoring opportunity. 2 minutes to go. Coleman into the box. Nearly miscommunication between the two defenders of Teesside still. They readjust to prevent the opening goal of the game. Still causing Oscar Mulgrew trouble. You can see they've committed players forward. They have to be wary of a potential break should Teesside still dispossess Coleman and have the accuracy and power to force the ball up the court. But Norwich City, certainly with the expectations they would have had at the start of the season, kind of have nothing to lose and everything to gain in this one. They will be beyond content with their performances. Across the 23-24 Championship. Coleman into the box. A potential win here for Norwich City would see them take maximum points from game week 5. Something they probably would not have expected. I think it's probably a shock to them that this late on they're in contention for that playoff position. Had the regulation 20, so now into any additional time that Paul Yates has accrued. Effort from Mike Coleman wide of the right-hand post, and that signals the first half of action. Norwich City 0, Teesside still 0. Let's bring up the live league table. You can see a point here for Norwich City would not be enough to see them leapfrog Leeds Dynamos, but a win will see them take third position. Dudley, currently trailing by 3 goals to 1, would need at least 3 goals in that remaining 20-minute half for them to be in consideration for a playoff position. But thank you to all that are joining me for the action here in the penultimate game of the 23-24 PTC Therapeutics Championship. I'll be back very shortly for the second half. Hello everyone and welcome back to the second half in this game between Norwich City and Teesside Steel. Norwich City will be kicking off towards the camera, and as has been mentioned, if you're tuning in for the first time, a win for Norwich City would see them leapfrog Leeds Dynamos in the PTC Therapeutics Championship standings to take third position, which results in a playoff placement where they will face whoever finishes 10th in the Premiership. They weren't able to really threat Isaac Murray in the Teesside Steel goal. The game live currently on Court B could be significant also to that race for third place, but West Bromwich Albion Dudley, the other team in contention, currently trailing by 3-1. But we are back underway here at the Lee Westwood Sports Centre on Court A. Mike Coleman to run through the teams very quickly. Johan George is the designated goalkeeper for Norwich City. He is wearing red. Mike Coleman operating in the centre, complemented by two wingers of Jack Fulcher and Henry Barnard. Teesside Steel have Isaac Murray in goal, Oscar Mulgrew in the centre, Jamil Khan and Thomas Met on either wing. It's good early pressure from Mike Coleman and Norwich City respectively. They have 19 minutes to find a goal without conceding to finish third. Mike Coleman nearly finding the gap behind Oscar Mulgrew. He adjusts just in time, and Jamil Khan flicks it over to Thomas Met, who's going to put some pressure on Johan George. A real good opportunity for Teesside Steel, who haven't had a great deal of opportunities in the 21.5 or so minutes played. Heavy contact with Thomas Met. He's already been warned as to his contact. He'll do very well to escape a yellow card here. I think he's going to be given a final warning. He had a very aggressive foul in the first half in the opening minute or so. Was told off by Paul Yates then. But escapes punishment. Should there be any updates from Court B, I will bring you them live. As you can see, currently Dudley trail by 3-1. Villa Rockets Lions ending the season on a high. Oscar Mulgrew back to Jamil Khan, over to Mike Coleman. She's just waiting for that real moment of quality this game, as Coleman weaves his way into the Teesside Steel box. Strong play from Coleman into the box of Teesside Steel. Off of Oscar Mulgrew's chair, out to Henry Barnard. As far as Henry Barnard once again just struggling to break that Norwich City press. Flicked out wide by Henry Barnard. An opportunity here. Isaac Murray read that chance really well. Out of play. Henry Barnard to take. Through the gap, Jack Fulcher's going to attempt an effort, a goal, he finds the goal! Oscar Mulgrew anticipated him going towards that far post, and after 24 minutes, Jack Fulcher puts Norwich City 1-0 up, a goal that could be so significant to the outcome of the season. Fantastic work from Norwich City. They've really come out the traps in this second with real vigour. And the goal was probably no less than they deserve. Once the play settles, I'll bring you the live stand-in so you can see how that goal impacts things. Teesside still looking for an immediate reply. It's been a goal on Court B. Villa Rockets Lions 4-1 up against West Bromwich Albion Dudley, so Dudley will not be challenging for that third place any longer. They would need at least 4 goals, and they would need Teesside still also to find something from this game. We bring up the stand-ins for the top 6 teams. You can see that Norwich City, with a more favourable goal difference and points tally, leapfrog leads Dynamos. They've got 14 minutes to hold on to this 1-goal lead. No doubt they'll want to probably add to it, just to give themselves a bit of a buffer. As it stands, Norwich City will play whoever finishes 10th in the Premiership in a one-off playoff game scheduled to take place in July. Jamil Khan trying to influence the play. Charlie Connolly, fresh from his introduction, just lapse of concentration, not aware that Jamil Khan would enter that area of the court so quickly. Confirmation of that Teesside steel change. Henry Barnard, good work to prevent Jamil Khan advancing up the court. West Bromwich Albion Dudley have got a goal back. 6-goal thriller on Court B. Here on Court A, Norwich City a goal up against Teesside Steel, courtesy of Jack Fulcher. Less than 2 minutes to be played on Court B. Despite the fact that the playoff placement is out of reach for Dudley, they have had a fantastic season, developing so much under the guidance of Matt Gilbert and Dave Lewis. Henry Barnard. Jack Fulcher, can they replicate the earlier goal where Barnard was able to find the gap? He does so again. Attempt on target from Fulcher. Oscar Mulgrew just had to make sure it was cleared. Would have probably ricocheted off the post had he left it. Henry Barnard now Attempt at goal. It's all about game management in the remaining 11 or so minutes. They won't want to do anything too rash, just wind down that clock. Ball ricochets high between the chairs of Jamil Khan and Mike Coleman. Over to Charlie Connolly, not quite set to receive that ball. Had he been facing the other way, he could have probably dribbled down that left-hand wing. Mike Coleman trying to weave his way round Oscar Mulgrew. Henry Barnard, Jack Fulcher just readjust to allow their captain the space to operate. That fluidity of system takes some adjustment. Just that anticipation of where your teammates are going to go. Ensure there's no vulnerabilities and you feel the voids vacated by players leaving areas that have been designated to them. Mike Coleman to take into the box, just ricochets between Murray and Khan. 9.5 minutes to be played. Norwich City 1, Teesside Steel 0. This is the scoreline. The last time they met, 1-0, that finished back in November. Johan George was the goal scorer in that one. He's been fairly untested as the designated goalkeeper here today. Full time on Court B. West Bromwich Albion, Dudley 2, Villa Rockets Lions 4. Fantastic way for them to end the season. Bring up the top 6 teams of the division. You can see that Dudley finished the season on 37 points. Villa Rockets Lions were able to match them on that points tally, just the more favourable goal difference for Dudley, but fantastic season for both of them. No doubt if they can continue to work away in the off-season, they'll come back with aspirations of potential promotion in the 24-25 campaign. Here, Charlie Connolly has an attempt at goal. It was going well wide. The ricochet and deflection off Mike Coleman's chair is the reason it was sent goal-bound. He had to adjust and did so well. First real sight of goal for Teesside Steel in this second half. Mike Coleman to take. Softly taken into the front of Henry Barnard's chair. Dispossessed by Khan. Charlie Connolly's going to have another attempt here. Has to be careful. As always, Mike Coleman was always going to position his chair there. Another Teesside Steel player that does extremely well to escape a booking from Paul Yates. Mike Coleman down to Fulcher, off the front of Oscar Mulgrew's chair. 2-on-1 surely in favour of Norwich City. Brilliant advantage played by Paul Yates. Jack Fulcher into the box. Charlie Connolly just struggling to adapt to the pace. A number of occasions in which he hasn't vacated the space quick enough, occupied by his teammates. No 2-on-1 on that occasion, but an opportunity for Norwich City. Mike Coleman can't quite get the angle and or connection on that ball to fire it over to Jack Fulcher, who would almost certainly have been the intended target. Six minutes left for Norwich City to secure this win and third place in the 23-24 Championship. They've been the real dark horses. No one really had considered them prior to game week 5. A lot of focus was on Dynamos, Dudley and Villa Rockets Lions, but they're on course to secure maximum points, 12 points from their 4 games. A credit to every one of them players, the supporting staff, the coaches, parents, carers watching over this on the mezzanine. I've got a real soft spot for Norwich and would be very much excited to see them in a playoff fixture. At the conclusion of game week 5 of the Premiership, we will find out who their opposition will be, but it's not over yet. 5 minutes to be played. A goal for Teesside still here would give the playoff position back to Leeds Dynamos. Charlie Connolly, pick off, back to Jamil Khan, connection over to Oscar Mulgrew. Good attacking attempt from Teesside still, sends it goal bound. Mike Coleman clears. Mike Coleman has been excellent in this game. Seems to be everywhere. Epitomised here. He spearheads the attacks. He's crucial in defence. Mulgrew down to Jamil Khan. Charlie Connolly once again has to be careful of his placement. Henry Barnard will certainly be in consideration and contention for recognition. Maybe Young Player of the Season awards. Obviously a lot of focus and attention goes on Greenbank, particularly Jacob Book-Platt, with reference to that particular award. But if we're to look beyond Jacob Book-Platt, Henry Barnard, 17 goals to his name, and if they are to secure third place in the league, he surely has to be in consideration. Jack Fulcher as well, looks like he's going to have scored the goal to take them there. The future is very bright for Norwich City. Mulgrew into the space. Jamil Khan tries to guide it over to Charlie Connolly. Fires it wide out for a Norwich City ball. Just 2 games remaining in the 23-24 Championship following this. Out to Henry Barnard, over to Mike Coleman. Beautiful pass which enables him to force it down the line. Too much pace probably for him to keep it in. Manchester City take on Muscle Warriors. Sale United take on Nottingham Forest. Results that I don't believe have any impact on the table. But what a season this has been. And if this wasn't enough, we're treated to consecutive National League weekends with game week 5 of the Premiership as Jack Fulcher looks to double both his and his team's advantage. Funny face being pulled by Henry Barnard. Really are playing with some confidence. Fulcher wraps his chair around that ball to prevent the advancement of Oscar Mulgrew, which he's unable to do. That responsibility picked up by Mike Coleman, has space to dribble into, met by Jamil Khan, tries to weave to his left in order to vacate it once again. Charlie Connolly unaware of Jamil Khan's placement, and a 2-on-1 this time awarded to Norwich City. They have just over a minute to go. Mike Coleman just taking his time, has Henry Barnard as an option. Ricochets off Isaac Murray's chair. Henry Barnard looking to score his 18th goal. Just locks it up in the box of Teesside Steel. We're now officially in the last minute. Was to be pushed for a player of the match. Jack Fulcher, of course, scored that brilliant goal, but I don't think they would have had that foundation to build on had it not been for Mike Coleman. So he would be my selection. Johan George has had little to nothing to do in this whole game, let alone this second half. Mike Coleman has to prevent Oscar Mulgrew advancing now. You can see the players that are committed forward for Teesside Steel in desperate pursuit of the equaliser. Final 10 seconds. Norwich City with one hand on that third place position. We'll probably hear roars of jubilation from the mezzanine. Plenty of people watching. Regulation 20 has been played. Paul Yates has a look at his watch. Coleman taking his time, exchanging some short, snappy passes between himself and Henry Barnard. Good out for a Teesside Steel ball. 30 seconds over the regulation 20. An opportunity here for Oscar Mulgrew. Now biting stuff if you're affiliated to Norwich City. And it's not enough. Huge congratulations to Norwich City. It finishes Norwich 1, Teesside Steel 0. And if we can bring up the table of the Championship division, you will see how significant that is for the outcome. Norwich City, 22 games played, 12 wins, 4 of which have come in game week 5. 5 draws, 5 losses, 41 points. So they will be present here on July 13th to play whoever finishes 10th in the Premiership for one single Premiership placement. Thank you to all that have joined me for this one. We've got the final games of the 23-24 campaign. Manchester City take on Muscle Warriors on Court A. Sale United take on Nottingham Forest on Court B.